Two tankers carrying Iranian crude have reached Indian ports, marking the first such deliveries since May 2019, according to ship tracking data from Kpler. The very large crude carrier Felicity, carrying around 2 million barrels of oil, anchored off Sikka on Gujarat's coast late Sunday. Another tanker, Jaya, with a similar volume of crude, arrived near Paradip off the Odisha coast around the same time. The development signals a significant shift in oil trade dynamics between India and Iran after a gap of nearly 5 years. Both Felicity and Jaya were loaded at Kharg Island, Iran's largest oil export terminal that handles nearly 90% of the country's crude shipments. While Felicity lifted its cargo in mid-March, Jaya was loaded in late February before military tensions between the US-Israel Combine and Iran escalated. According to reports, the Union Shipping Ministry said it was not aware of the movement of the two vessels. India's receipt of Iranian crude shipments comes after a temporary US sanctions waiver allowed refiners to resume purchases for a limited period, aimed at easing global oil prices amid the ongoing Iran war. The waiver permits delivery of cargoes already in transit but does not allow fresh deals. However, the relief is short-lived, with the waiver set to expire on April 19, casting uncertainty over the continuity of Iranian oil imports into India in the coming weeks. India, the world's third-largest oil importer and consumer, had halted Iranian crude imports in May 2019 following US sanctions pressure. The latest arrivals mark the first known deliveries since then. State-run Indian Oil Corporation has procured Iranian crude carried by Jaya despite the vessel being under US sanctions. Meanwhile, Reliance Industries Limited, which operates the world's largest refining complex, has also been allowed to source Iranian oil transported on several sanctioned and aging tankers, including Felicity and others, indicating a cautious resumption of trade under limited regulatory relief. The Felicity, operated by the National Iranian Tanker Company, reportedly loaded crude at Kharg Island in mid-March before anchoring off Sikka late Sunday. The Jaya is believed to have lifted oil in late February prior to the escalation of geopolitical tensions following a series of strikes and counter-strikes involving Iran. Both shipments are part of cargoes already in transit under a temporary US sanctions waiver. Historically, Iran was a key oil supplier to India, with imports peaking at over 5 lakh barrels per day in 2018, accounting for more than 11% of total crude imports. However, supplies were halted after tighter US sanctions, prompting India to shift to alternative sources. The current one-month exemption allows limited sales to stabilize global markets, but uncertainty looms as the US prepares to enforce a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, raising concerns over future supplies. The US military said the proposed blockade would be enforced impartially against vessels of all nations accessing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including facilities in the Arabian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. However, it clarified that neutral transit through the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian destinations would not be affected. Iran, in response, warned that no port in the Persian Gulf or the Sea of Oman would remain safe if its own facilities were targeted. The escalation follows the collapse of US-Iran ceasefire talks in Islamabad, with rising tensions pushing global oil prices higher amid fears of a broader regional fallout.
For Indian ships, you know that we have a good relation with the Indian government, and we want to prepare a good preparation for the ships of India. And you know that we have 2-time telephone call between Prime Minister, His Excellency Prime Minister of India, and His Excellency Masoud Pezeshkian, our President. And we have more than 4 or 5 times between the two foreign ministers. And we have a good contact in this case, because you know that our foreign minister named India in the 5 countries as a friend for